Hey,
Yay.
everybody. Welcome back to the Friday Society. I am here with Jayel Lewis, who I'm sure you all know. She is a fitness business entrepreneur. And today we're going to be talking about all things business modeling, how to build your fitness business, and just all of the badass things that she does every day. So, welcome, Jayel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here.
Yay. Okay. I know you're in Austin. Tell everybody a little bit
Yes.
about yourself and like what your day to day looks like right now.
Okay. Yeah. So I am new to Austin. I've been here for almost 2 months at this point. Prior to living in Austin, I lived in Mexico and Costa Rica for the past year. And before that, I am a Philly girl. So I lived there for 7 years. Gosh, about me. Where do I start? How much time do we have?
It's
I
always
come
like the one that trips people
I
up. I
know.
love
It's
it.
like, okay, how much do you want to know? I'm not sure. You let me know. You want to go back like 10 years, 15 years, but I will, to spare all of you, I will give you the overview. So, a little about me. I have always been in the health and wellness space, even before I knew it. So, like growing up, I was always really active. I did ballet and I played sports, and it's just that's where I found my love of movement. I'm going to say it's in my blood. My dad was an executive vice president for the YMCA's, so like it goes back, it goes back. And then my mom was an aerobics teacher. So if you're listening to this and you're like, what is aerobics? You're definitely younger than me.
My mom was too.
I love it. Like, I
She
love it.
was she was kidsercise
Oh my
instructor.
gosh, that's
Which
amazing.
I'm like now I'm like, shoot, now everyone knows I'm in my 30s. But yes,
Oh, yeah,
exercise
totally.
was a thing.
Yeah, no shame on my part. But like the leotards that people like now dress up in for like Halloween and stuff, like that was an actual look. And like I still have some of those outfits from my mother. So yeah, it was just always like instilled in me. Movement was just a therapy, a medicine for me, so to speak, before I even knew it. And then as I went to college, I was kind of like, what should I study? Ended up studying kinesiology, so exercise science and nutrition, but was like, I'm never going to use this degree. Mainly because I didn't know anyone in the industry that was like making a name for themselves outside of, athletics or educational, like gym teacher, like that sort of thing. And I was like, okay. It was more so just like, this is something that I liked. I'm appeasing my parents. I'm getting a degree. Um, and then fitness just kept hitting me in the face. Like it just kept hitting me in the face.
Mhm.
And I swear I woke up one morning and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get into fitness. And all my friends were like, yeah, yep, like where have you been? So, I mean, I started like working at a front desk, a personal training studio, and then I had like some clients here and there, but I still wasn't full time. Was still looking for a different outlet, a different job somewhere. Fast forward, I was like, all right, let's do this fitness thing. I ended up getting certification in personal training and then like group exercise. I'm just kind of like dipping my toes in the water. I'm from Philly, so I say water, not water. Um, and and then it just snowballed from there. So I started actually training in the United States Air Force overseas in Germany, built my own personal training business overseas, then came back to the States, rebuilt another personal training company. It did really well. And then I was spearheaded to build out a multi-million-dollar health and wellness department in Philadelphia. So if you're familiar with Soho House or Equinox, think of the two of them kind of birthing a fitness offering. And so that's what I did. And I spearheaded that. And I did that for 2.5 years. And it was incredible. 30,000 square feet of just pure health and wellness bliss inside of a private lifestyle club in the middle of Philly. And so that was like my last really
Wow.
big project. I know. I'm like, yeah, just life happens. And then we all know it happened in 2020. And with that, it was, I always like to think everything happens for a reason. It was a blessing in disguise. Unfortunately, I had to lay off every single person on my team.
Mm.
So every group exercise instructor, every personal trainer, there was an aquatics department, there was a spa component, like everyone that was on my team. I had 35 plus
Oh, wow.
employees. So I had to lay off everyone. And that was the hardest thing. One of the hardest things I've ever had to go through.
Mhm.
Um, and then about 6 weeks later, I got laid off as well. Um, but
Did you
for
see it
me,
coming?
no, I didn't. I didn't see it coming. I mean, it was such a time like in our world that no one really knew what to expect. And this is when gyms and studios were shuttering and completely closing, and people were just trying to figure out, okay, do I go online? Do I not? Like, what's happening? And for us, our entire like company was still closed. I mean, think of having a lifestyle club, and it's like you can't do
In a
anything.
physical space only.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't see it coming, but for me, it was a very significant date. So it was to the day, 7 years that I left Germany to rebuild my own personal training company back in America. So when my boss called me and our president of the company called me, I literally said, thank you. I remember like that conversation, like it was yesterday. And I said, thank you, because I knew that that was my confirmation, external permission. I knew that was the end of one beautiful chapter and the start of an even more beautiful one. So I didn't know exactly what that looked like, but I knew it was time for me to start my second business, which is the Fit Collective. And so that's when it started, in the middle of a pandemic, and here we are.
Oh my God. I love that so much.
Yes.
So it's so funny. I feel like I'm such a person with dates, and I feel like
Yes.
there is really something to just like true universal coincidences. And I mean, not coincidences, but yeah, I think that's so amazing. So
Yeah.
what is the Fit Collective? What do you do?
Yes.
Talk about it.
Yeah. So the Fit Collective, FIT is an acronym, fitness industry training. It is collective for health and wellness and fitness professionals. So think of it as your educational platform for everything business related. So yes, I'm a fitness business coach. I teach fitness professionals how to monetize their brand and build profitable businesses. Because myself, getting a degree in exercise science, going through college, getting multiple certifications, no one ever taught me the business side of things. And it was something that I had to learn along the way, and something that I feel isn't as accessible as it should be. So that's what the Fit Collective is. So we have different courses, we have different resources for fitness professionals that are like, I love what I do, I'm passionate about the career, but ... I don't know how to build. I don't know how to acquire new clients. I don't know how to market myself, whatever it is, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, that's what the Fit Collective is.
Yeah. And I'm so happy that we connected, because everybody, like, the podcast literally was started because I was like, I don't think anybody actually knows what they need to be doing. And not to belittle anybody at all, but like there's no clear place to say, okay, by the way, you're going to be a 1099 employee for this person, and this is how
Right.
you're going to need to file your taxes. And an
Yep.
LLC is different than an S corp because of
Mm-hmm.
these reasons. Like, you shouldn't have to Google your way through business. You should have people that you're able to talk to. So I love that you're putting all of that stuff together.
Thank you.
What are the top things that you feel like people come to you for? Like, what is missing in their education and they're like, okay, I really need somebody to help me out with this. What is it?
Sure. So I literally say it's like a curriculum that no one ever taught you. So it's business 101, business 201, business 301, but for someone within the fitness industry. So people come to me through all walks of life, right? And through all walks of their fitness career, whether they're part-time, whether they're wanting to go full-time, or if they are at a big box gym and they're wanting to venture out on their own in some capacity. So I get a lot of different individuals at different, points in their career, but it's really just, it's not that they don't want to learn, it's that they don't know where to go to have that trusted information of not only someone that's gone through it, who's been there, done that, but also like that they can like actually say, oh, this makes sense. I always like to say there's so much content, right? We live in a world of like so much content, like, this especially, but there's not a lot of context when it comes to building your business, especially in the fitness industry. So most of the things I get are, how do I attract new clients? How do I, put myself out there? How do I charge my worth? What's the next step within my business? I've been doing this for 10 years, and dare I even say that I'm burnt out, exhausted, overwhelmed, and maybe a little bit bored. It's a safe space. Like, whenever I'm coaching, I always say that it's kind of like Planet Fitness. Like, it is a zero like judgment atmosphere, because it's not your fault that you don't know these things. It's just you don't know where to find them.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. Okay. So I know that business modeling is a big topic for you. It's something that you and I have
Yes.
chatted a bunch about. What does that mean? What is business modeling and how does it apply in the fitness industry?
Sure. So fitness. Oh gosh. Okay. So I'll just give you a little example. Like when I was getting into the fitness industry, and I'm not going to date myself, but let's just say it was about a decade ago. Okay. So when I was first getting into the fitness industry, I was like, I want a studio. I want a brick and mortar. I want an app. I want like, and there was just so many different directions that I could go. And now having done the business side of things and running a successful health and wellness department, you get to see where people are actually wanting to grow. So as far as business models, as we know, you can go the app route, right? It's just really different avenues and a way for you to create revenue and a way for you to build on your offer suite or your product suite. So there's apps, right? Fitness professionals can have apps. There's also on-demand libraries, on-demand educational platforms. There's live or in-person trainings and or teachings if you're into group fitness or personal training. There's also courses, which are high ticket, educational resources for your ideal client. So there's so many different avenues that people can take as far as building out their business. But what happens is that so many people gravitate towards what other people are doing. And just because you see other people doing that does not mean it's going to be a success for you. Oftentimes it's not going to be because one, my word for 2020 and 2021 has been alignment. If you are not personally aligned with it, you're not going to love it. And if you don't love it, you fall into the category, which I talk about in my courses all the time, is mad money. Like you're making money, but you're mad about it because you're frustrated and it doesn't feel good. And you just feel completely depleted as you're making this money.
Yeah. What do you feel like is the opposite of alignment?
Doing all the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like having too many offers. I
Yep.
think it's being pulled in so many different directions. And it's kind of like the Cheesecake Factory menu, right? Just like so many pages.
That's a
Listen, I'm not
great
hating.
example.
I use it all the time. I'm not hating on the Cheesecake Factory by any means.
Yeah, no, everybody loves
But
it, but it's
right, but like there's just
not
so many
focused.
pages. Like you
Yep.
go in there and you're like, I'm just gonna get a salad with like grilled chicken or like grilled salmon. Cool. And then all of a sudden there's 20 different pages and you're like, actually, I'm
Mhm.
going to get this Asian inspired pineapple, like encrusted shrimp that you never even thought you wanted. Right. So you deviate from like what you knew you wanted in the very beginning. And I feel that's what happens so often when people are building their businesses, that they deviate from what really lights their soul on fire and what can really actually help a client have a true transformation simply because of what everyone else is doing and all of the noise that's surrounding, you should go this route.
Absolutely. I think that's so important. And it's so funny. It's something that I see people do so often. And it's so easy, right?
Oh
In
my
the age of
gosh.
social
Yeah.
media. Like it's so easy. But I feel like I like every single day in a client session, I have to be like, do you want that? Or did you see that somebody else is doing that?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's so important because like nothing good comes from doing something that you don't feel aligned with. It's never going to feel good for you. You're never going to feel fulfilled. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, I think it takes a really strong person to be like, this is what I want to do. And this is what I don't want to do. And to choose, like, just continuously choose the path of alignment without a reminder. So, no
100%.
shade, right? Like no shade to anybody that is choosing things that are out of alignment, but it's a really good reminder to just like internally question, does this feel good or does this, feel forced? And I
Yeah.
love that you brought that up.
Well, I'm honestly, I relate a lot of things to dating because that's just where I am in my life, right? So it's like, okay, this person feels aligned or they don't, or they're draining all of your energy for some reason or another. But you want to make it work. Like you want to make it work because they look the way you want them to look, or they operate, or they have the job or on paper, right? But at the end of the day, you leave that date and you're like, why did I do that? Like I'm exhausted. I don't really actually like this person. And
Yeah,
that's the same rules apply in business
exactly.
as they do to your personal life. So you
Hmm.
have to set those boundaries and really tap into yourself to
Hmm.
determine what alignment is. Because I think
Yeah.
that's something that you learn over time. If you're
Hmm.
brand new in the industry, you don't know. I didn't know. I had no clue, right? It's like a give and take and it's a trial and error for some time.
It is. It's so funny to relate it back to dating though. And it's perfect because it's just like, do you want this relationship because you think that other people want you to have it? Or
Exactly.
do you want this relationship because it feels good for you? And it's
Yes.
just it's so incredibly important. So I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Why is business modeling important? Why is it something that you should know? I know we're kind of talking about alignment, but like
Sure.
let's say you are making choices that are totally aligned. What can you expect then from that for your business?
Everything just falls into place, right? And I'm not saying that you don't have to work, but flip the script and think of this as how you help your clients, right? So I come from a personal training background. That's just kind of where I was 100% aligned. Did I teach Group X classes? Sure, I did, but I was most aligned with personal training. And the same rule or the same thought process applies, right? You're not going to feel lit up every single day if you don't love what you're doing. Your clients are not going to continue to come to your classes or come to your training or invest in you if they're not feeling lit up in some capacity. That doesn't mean they love the burpees. That doesn't mean they love the push-ups or the pull-ups. That doesn't mean that they love every single part of the challenge. But with business modeling and finding the one that makes sense for you, once you find it, it's like pouring like gasoline on your fire because you're already amped, you're already ready to go. And then you're like, okay, I've done this. I have proof of concept. People are loving it. I'm loving it. So what's next? Right? Because the thing with the fitness industry is burnout happens so often. The turnover rate is between 30 to 40%. And in my opinion, it's not because people don't love what they're doing, it's because people don't know what to do next. And so once you kind of master one thing, it should then be, okay, where do I go next within this trajectory when it comes to building my business? In corporate, you have a ladder that you are supposed to climb, right? And I say that with like air quotes. But in fitness, it's not linear, right? And it should all come from what excites you, what's allowing your clients to see a transformation, and then where you want to take your business next. Because if you are not in alignment and you aren't feeling like, yes, okay, I've mastered this, I'm ready for the next phase, same thing you tell your clients, right? You're not doing a box jump before you're mastering a bodyweight squat. So once you have the foundation component in your business that lights you up, then you can go on to that box jump. But there
Mm-hmm.
is a growth strategy for
Yep.
building your business so that you're
Yeah.
not bored, so that you're not frustrated, so that you're not making mad money,
Yeah.
and so that you feel really clear and confident about the direction that you're heading.
Mm-hmm. I know it's so funny because I think, we're so like the way we grow up is like, okay, this grade comes next. This thing comes next. Like, what comes next. And I do think that's a big downside to entrepreneurship that nobody really talks about is like the what's next factor.
Yeah.
And I just, that's such a good call out because it's like, I think everyone thinks, you'll be happy when you're making six figures. I feel like it's such a number that everyone is like, that's what I want to make.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, then what? Because if you live in a big city, that's actually not going to be that much to make you feel totally fulfilled and like
Correct.
thrilled by what you're doing. So
Yeah.
then you're going to be like, okay, well, I could have been making this at a corporate job, but I'm not. So like, what am I doing? So something that's coming up for me, I think, in this conversation is like the importance of product laddering and
Mm-hmm.
like what your product ladder is. So
Yeah.
do you kind of like agree with that? And like how do you kind of help people through narrowing down their product ladder and figuring out like the hierarchy of their offers?
Sure. So it really starts with, let me meet you where you are, right? Because there is no right or wrong. It is truly dependent upon the individual. And oftentimes you'll say things like a product ladder or an offer suite or a product suite, and people are like, what are you talking about? Right. And most fitness professionals, they already have it. It's just because business was never taught in any capacity of our learnings. So they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So just to simplify things, it's the type of offer that you have and then another offer that you have, right? So depending upon where you are, let's say you're starting off with training people in a one-on-one capacity. After that, perhaps, and again, this comes from better understanding that individual and what they're wanting to accomplish and how they like to teach and educate and help people solve a problem. It could be creating a high ticket course, right? So that you're not burning the candle at both ends, so that you're not trading time for money all the time. And so that you have something that is digital. You keep the clients that you have, right? You keep that base, but you expand your wealth of knowledge into even more clients that are working with you in a virtual component where you're not having to teach or to train, where you're simply educating people in a way in which you've probably educated all of your other clients before.
Yeah, that's so important. So, okay, let's say there's a studio owner listening to this.
Totally.
And they're like, but all I have is a class. Like, that's just what my business model is. What would you say they could do with their, product suite to have a low ticket offer and a high ticket offer kind of in addition to their regular class?
Yeah, totally. So first off, I like to say that, okay, if someone is coming to me or to you or whoever, right, and saying, I only have one, that's a limiting belief, because you have to step into the role of, okay, I am a fitness professional, right? I don't like to just identify, yes, for context purposes, it is important. Are you a studio owner, group fitness instructor, personal trainer, that sort of thing. But you are more than who you feel you just are, because you are serving people on a regular basis, sometimes a daily basis. You're educating them. At times you are someone's lifeline. They are waking up so excited to come to your class. So one, it's the mindset shift of like, okay, I am more than, and I'm stepping into this next role. But outside of that, I would say to a studio owner, okay, here's the thing. You have a class, which means you probably have a signature format or a signature methodology that you are teaching. What are some of the questions that people are asking you on a regular basis? Where should I eat? What should I drink? What should I do in between these classes? How should I, recover the best? What does self-care look like? Package all of that, right? There's a way to intentionally package all of those things that people are already asking you and the information that people are already giving you in order to create a high ticket or low ticket offer, right? In addition to what it is that you're already doing. So high ticket, low ticket, it really depends on where you are, what that price point currently is, and how much time you have to invest in your next offer within your product suite. So I love the digital space. And if 2020 taught us anything, it taught us that online is so accessible. So if you're a studio owner, the cool thing is that wherever you are located, people know about your studio, right? And the other cool thing is that you can build an additional audience outside of the city or state that or country that you're currently in, because people have now adapted to this online model. Like, hello, Peloton, so it's like you can always offer something else, whether it's a membership or whether it's something, a group course that you can offer in addition. So I like to say, whatever your main focus is, that's your entree, right? But what are those appetizers that you can give to somebody else to create an additional entree at some point that people are like, oh, I want to bite of that.
100%. I love that. And I also think, it's super important to have, and I don't know if you're a fan of like launching a course or the evergreen strategy, but I think, what we're talking about with like group courses and stuff like that, that's great for income bursts, right?
Yep.
And then you also have to supplement with like your recurring revenue models. So what are some recurring revenue models that you recommend for Fit Pros or that you've seen work really well?
Yeah. So again, it's what they want. Most of the time, fitness professionals, they love the energy, they love the excitement. So that can be your reoccurring revenue stream, right? Whether you're working with people in person or virtually, that can be something that's consistent. You can increase those prices over time. You can create almost like an internal in-house membership for those clients that you're working with that can be month to month or quarter to quarter, or maybe even for the year if you've worked with those clients for the past 3 years, right? Like they trust you, they know you, they like you, they've already bought into what it is that you're offering. Outside of that, then you can do something that's supplemental that, like you said, is a cash injection to your day-to-day. So you can launch that. I actually believe in live launches to start off, because either way, you're still promoting something, you're still marketing something, and then you can get into the passive funnel. But, all that to say, yeah, you can really diversify your revenue streams while still loving what you do and not taking away from your current day-to-day.
I love it so much. Okay, final question before we get into rapid fire questions and more about your group coaching. what are your favorite hacks for foolproofing a business model? Like, what are some kind of mistakes that you see or ways that you're like, let's idiot proof what you're doing?
Okay, 100%. First things first, not building a business model off of someone else's successes. Okay, that's just number one. Number two would be to actually build a business model, because so often I don't think there is one. And it's not necessarily the same exact type of business model that you need for corporate or, what have you, but you have to have a clear plan of where you are starting and where you're wanting to go and what that consists of in order to get to the next chapter. So really just start looking at yourself as a business, right? If you are a brand, if you are a studio, if you are an independent contractor, however you identify, like look at yourself as a business and start treating it as such. Because if you don't have that information and you don't have that foundation, you're not going to be able to build upon it. I guess the third tip, or maybe the last thing that I would say, is to get really clear on the type of person that you want to serve. I think this is such a foundational component that a lot of people miss, because as heart-centered individuals, as fitness professionals, we want to help everybody, right? And it doesn't matter what you're offering, you want to help everybody. But at the end of the day, if you're helping everybody, you're going too broad and you don't have the ability to really like zero in and focus on the people that are going to light you up, your ideal client, the type of people you want to serve that you can provide a transformation to, and that aren't going to zap all of your energy.
Oh my God, those are amazing. The second one just like lights me up. And like,
yes.
So I taught a seminar yesterday and I said something similar. We're just like, you cannot expect CEO results from your company if you're treating it like a hobby. You can't. Like, correct. You have to start to take ownership and like really view this thing as a full-on company. Otherwise, like, you can't be surprised when correct. You're not getting the results. Mm-hmm. And that's like, I had a coach say to me one time, she was like, are you really surprised by the results? Like, really, when you think about it? And I was like, shoot, no, I'm not.
Right.
But I get it. And it's an important thing, I think, to call out to each other is like, you got to start behaving like the CEO. Like, you got to be on top of all your things, own your time, like map out your calendar, all the things. Like, it's not a hobby. Like, if this is a correct. Real business, you got to treat it like a business.
Correct. And it's the same thing that you tell your clients, right? Whether they're your group fitness clients or your PT clients, it's the same thing you tell them. Like, hey, I haven't seen you in a month. Like, are you expecting to actually see the results that you said you set out to accomplish? No, right? I haven't seen you on the bike. I haven't seen you in the room. I haven't seen you on demand.
Yeah.
You can't expect that those results are just going to magically appear because you've been thinking about coming to class. Yeah. It's the same thing with a business model. Reverse engineer. What do you want to make? How are you creating those revenue streams, and what are you doing on the day-to-day in order to actually like hit that goal?
Reverse engineering your unit, your like economics is so important. I love that you're calling that out. It's so important.
It's so important. So many people, they just have this idea. And it's like, ideas are great, but if you don't take action on them and you don't have a solid plan, it doesn't mean you can't deviate from the plan. It doesn't mean that the plan is always going to work. But if you're not following something, in my opinion, you're following nothing.
Yep. Yeah. And it's so funny. You're right. Like, I feel like there are so many people that are like, I want to make 10K this month. Like, that's what I want. And I have a $20 a month offering. And I'm like, cool. How are you going to get 500 people in 1 month? Do you know that? Like,
right.
You know that that's how many people you need. Have you figured that out? Have you broken down? Like, okay, great. If you need 500 people this month, are you going to get, whatever amount that is per day?
Right.
Like, what's your strategy to get, I don't even know what 500 divided by 30 is, but like, do you have a strategy to get that amount of people into your funnel per day? Because that's really what it comes down to. So I love that. I think that's super, super important.
Yeah, I mean, we are on the same page, my friend. We are on the same page. But this is something that I'll say that I feel the fitness industry lacks, is the education around this. Because it's like, no one's talked about finances. No one's talked about, a financial tracker. No one's talked about, okay, what price do I need to actually position myself in order to hit these goals? So often in the fitness industry, it's like discount, 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 free. And you're like, what? No, that's why people look at it as a hobby.
I know. You're so right. I'm like, we should do a course together. Like,
let's do it.
I feel like it would be so fun, but it's so true. It doesn't exist. And I think, a lot of that is honestly social media, where it's like a bunch of people are like, I made 6 figures. Like, and then so other people see that and they're like, cool, that seems, I can do that too. I'm going to go start teaching a class. I'm
Right.
like, what are your margins? Do you
Yeah.
know, like, do you know any of this sort of stuff? And it's hard to figure out, but no one tells you. So
No
I'm
one
glad
tells
that,
you.
super glad that you're in the space telling people.
Me too. And honestly, this has come from me not having this information. I was a full-time fit pro for 10 plus years. So not having that information and making so many mistakes, you accidentally end up building a 6-figure business. You actually accidentally end up being, sought out after to build this multi-million-dollar business because you've done it and because you see what's missing within the industry and then how to fill that hole.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the Fit Collective for a little bit.
Let's
What do
do it.
people get in the group coaching? What do you cover? And
Yeah.
I know you're in it right now. So when's the
Yeah.
next time you'll be launching it?
Yes. So we are in our 5th round. So this particular course is actually called the Fitness Curriculum. It is an 8 to 12 week course. This is our first time doing our 8-week course, rapid fire before 2022. But essentially, the fitness curriculum teaches you everything you need to know of how to start an online fitness business. So everything from LLC to, financial tracking and how to market yourself and how to show up and how to position your offer and how to price point it and how to launch it. And of course, how to make an additional income. So that's what the fitness curriculum is. I also have another program, Fitness Business Bootcamp. It is 4 weeks to really understand your marketing, your social, and really start calling in, your dream clients. It's kind of the starter pack. So that will be launching again in November, and then the fitness curriculum will be launching again in 2022.
Yes. I love it. How can people sign up for a wait list if they wanted to?
Yes. So, of course, I always like to determine where you are. I like to qualify you for the program that is best suited for you. I'm not just going to put you into something. So feel free to shoot me a DM. It's at Jayel Lewis. I'm sure we can link it, but there are 3 L's, Jayell Lewis on Instagram. And then I do have a really fun quiz. It's the-fitcollective.com/quiz for you to understand where you are within your fitness business and what tools and resources you can use to really amplify your business. And it's completely free.
Amazing. We will link to that for sure.
Thank you.
All right. Ready for rapid fire questions?
Let's do it. I'm so ready.
Okay. By the way, you guys, if you do want to sign up for her programs, I know in this one, I'm doing like a fun little seminar for everybody. So she also has like guest speakers and
yes,
fun things. So
yes, Alexa's coming in next week.
Some other people.
Yes. Yeah. And that's
right.
the thing, like none of us are professionals in like every single aspect of business. So yes, I bring in guest coaches that speak to their zone of genius that can really just help people like, speed up the process of learning things.
Yeah. I always feel like that was my favorite part, like in college, was just guest speakers during class.
Yeah.
And I guess also probably why I started the podcast. Like, I just love hearing others' perspectives. I think it's so incredibly important and so fun. So I love it.
And even sometimes just hearing it like in a different way. You can say like, you could say the same things or, your parents can say the same things to you. But then when you have like your favorite aunt that comes over around the holidays and says the exact same thing, you're like, that makes sense. It just like clicks.
Yeah, so true. All right. What is your favorite way to sweat?
Boxing.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. I feel like you let out some aggression,
Yep.
and it's just fun. You get to hit things.
Yeah.
And it's totally acceptable.
Software that you cannot live without.
Okay. For me personally, within my business, I use Kajabi. That's where I host my courses. I would also say Asana. So that's where my team and I collaborate on all the things. It streamlines everything. So those would be the top 2. And Stripe. It's a payment processing system that I absolutely love. It's just seamless. Those are the top ones for me in my business.
Love it. Best business advice you ever got?
That you were given this dream and it is up to you to bring to life.
Yes. That's my favorite. Favorite one. I love that.
Yes.
Okay. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? I know this is fun for you because you've lived like everywhere already.
Yeah. So I've lived in like 4 different countries at this point. But I would say South Africa. I've never been, but why not?
Ooh, love it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Advice you would give your younger self.
My younger self, I would say to embrace that the plans that you put into place are probably not going to work, that you will still get to your final destination, but what you originally planned probably isn't going to work out like that at all.
I love that. All right. Dream job besides what you're doing right now, like pilot or something crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I I would say like marine biologist. I love the water. Once again, I'm saying water, but I love the water. I love like the sea creatures, sea turtles. I feel like are my spirit animal. Like I don't know. I just yeah, let's go with marine biologist. And
I love
I love
that.
like science and like learning. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite rapid fire question to ask because the responses that I've gotten from people are so hilarious. Like I had one person who's this like badass, amazing studio owner, Marissa West. She's phenomenal. And she goes, Spanish tutor. And I was like, you could do that. Like that's the thing you could do. And then I've had people say like I had Matt Nolan, he was like, I want to start an HGTV show called like fitness and like farmhouses. And I was like, that's great. And I mean, marine biologist, like
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's like definitely one of my favorite
Yeah.
questions.
I mean, I think, okay, another one. I'll just say, so I did audition for Peloton once, didn't make the cut. It's fine. It's fine. Everything happens for a reason. But I would say, like, if I were a little bit younger and my joints were a little bit more supple, Peloton instructor, if they would have me back.
Yep. I love that. All right. Last one, close us out. One lesson that you took from 2020 that you want to keep with you.
Oh, this one, embrace the pivot, right? Like, I just feel like 2020 was like the year of pivoting.com. So just embrace
Mhm.
it. I feel
Yeah.
like it taught us so many things about ourselves, about life, about businesses, relationships. And I think a lot of those were really good things.
Mhm.
So as the years unfold and as we roll ourselves out of what was 2020, right? Like just embrace change and embrace like being able to just completely pivot and it being amazing and it not being something that's like scary, overwhelming, or like fearful.
Oh, I love that so much. I know I keep saying like I'm so excited to live out the next like decade and see what everybody's passion projects and side hustles have turned
Yes.
into. Like I think
Yes.
it's going to be the coolest thing to watch. So I love that and I think yeah, pivoting is where it's at.
Love it. Here for it. Like I'm like you. I'm like, I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah. Where can people find you? How can they keep up with you? We'll have everything in the show notes, but say it again.
Yes. So, all right. Again, I am on the Instagram. The Instagram. I'm dating myself once again. Instagram at Jayel Lewis. JayelLewis. When I created it a long time ago, I thought you had to have like your full name. So my middle initial is L. That's why there are 3 L's. My last name is Lewis. Okay. So you can find me there. Shoot me a DM. I'm always open to hearing, learning, exploring, and growing. And then you can check out the Fit Collective, which is www.the-fitcollective.com. And if you wanted to take the quiz, it is the same web domain /quiz.
Amazing. We'll have that in the show notes. Jayel, thank you so much. This
Oh
was
my
so
gosh,
much
thank
fun.
you. This was so much fun.
I